Know what this is? Bragged the goblin, waving the Art Fairy's gold star badge under Rachel's and Krusty's noses. Both girls nervously shook their heads. Poor Alison fluttered silently around the back of the goblin, then hid herself in the bib of Krusty's apron. "It's a badge, obviously," continued the new boy. "With this I can make my rocket fly, and not just some silly little distance either. This will make it soar right across the playground." Rachel summoned up all her courage. She stepped closer, trying to look unimpressed by the goblin's claims. "If the badge is really magic," she challenged, "wouldn't it have to be inside the rocket somewhere to make it fly?" Irritated, the goblin thought for a minute. Rachel was right. Then he seemed to remember his door hatch. "Watch this," he crowed, opening the little door and shoving the magical badge inside. The goblin lifted the rocket high in the air and hurled it up as hard as he could. "Good job, Rachel," chimed a silvery voice. Alison burst out from Krusty's apron and darted into the air. She waved her wand in a circle, sending starbursts and twinkly paint pellets whizzing in all directions. "Look at the rocket now," said Rachel, pointing up at the sky. Alison's magic had sent the model flying in a loop, just like the movement of her wand. "Are you ready, Kirsty?" she asked, her eyes dancing with excitement. "Stop it," barked the goblin. The rocket arched over the playground before gliding gently down into Krusty's outstretched hands. Kirsty immediately opened the door hatch and pulled out the magical badge. "Here you go, Alison," she giggled. Alison thanked her and touched the badge with her wand. It shrank down to fairy size right away. The delighted fairy fluttered and somersaulted above the girl's head, filling the air with joyful sparkles of colors. The goblin swiped feebly at the fairy, but he knew his fun was over. "You two ruined everything," he shouted, sticking his tongue out at Kirsty and Rachel. "At least you have your rocket," said Kirsty, handing the model back at the disgruntled goblin. "We need to go back inside, Alison," told Rachel. "See you soon." "Good riddance," blurted the goblin. Alison blew the girls a kiss and disappeared into the afternoon sky. Kirsty and Rachel skipped back into class, but the goblin didn't follow them. Instead, he got back to launch his precious toy. He threw the rocket up into the air, but without any fairy magic, it crashed straight back down to the ground again. By the end of the afternoon, Mr. Bitter's classroom was a much nicer place to be, other than the grumpy goblin in the corner. Everybody was working quietly and happily on their model vehicles. "He's still out there," whispered Rachel, pointing out the classroom window. The bitter goblin was still storming up and down the playground with his rocket. "Some goblins never learn," Kirsty chuckled, feasting the mass onto their model boat. She beamed across the table at Adam and Amina. The vehicle had beautiful rainbow sails, a cabin in the middle, and a row of round portholes. Mr. Bitter stood in front of the whiteboard. "And the winner for the best art project is Dylan, Maya, and Zach's terrific passenger train." Kirsty and Rachel clapped enthusiastically. The train really did look sensational. "The vehicle will be displayed in a place of pride in the school lobby," added Mr. Beaker, "in time for the school superintendent's visit." But we're not ready for the superintendent yet, whispered Rachel. The school day fairies are still missing two badges. Trusty held out her pinky finger, linking it with her best friend's. It was the girls' way of making very special promises to each other. We'll find those magical badges before I go home, she declared. Trusty looked determined. The goblins hadn't gotten the best of them yet. You and I would never give up on the fairies.